What's going on, everybody? Once again, we are back, Twin Flames Unite. And if you don't know already, I'm Chris.
And I'm Leisha. What up?
And today, y'all, we're going to be diving pretty deep into an issue that we see recurring over and over again. And we want to help y'all out to avoid these traps.
Yes, because they are big traps.
Now, whenever you get into a relationship, you know, there are certain signs that's going to tell you whether or not this relationship is going to work. And some of those signs you really need to pay attention to because you can end up getting into a toxic relationship, which is not good for either side of the party.
Right, and sometimes with toxic relationships, and I think this is where it gets tricky, it can start out really nice, you know, in the bubble up phase, and then for whatever reason, most of the time it has to do with communication, the relationship becomes toxic. And where it even gets even more trickier is that it's really hard to pinpoint like it's his fault or it's her fault. It just over a period of time it becomes toxic.
Yes. So today we're going to be pointing out 6 different signs that you should look for when you're in your relationship, because with these things it's a slippery slope. It's a very thin line, is what they would say, between having a successful relationship and one that fails.
Between love and hate.
Between love and hate. It's a thin line. Okay, we're going to...
Really? Between love and hate.
All right, we're going to do our audition later on today. But today we got 6 signs of a toxic relationship, so that you want to keep an eye out for these things, and you want to also evaluate this along your journey with your mate, because this is not something that just happens in the beginning. It can happen during the relationship or towards the end. You never know. So you want to always evaluate your relationship to make sure you're getting what you want out of it.
Exactly, making sure you guys are on the same page and that you're not reading from 2 completely different books.
Right. So sign number 1. One sign that you want to look for is that your conversations become shallow. Now, especially for the people in our community, you know, we talk a lot about the spiritual life and things of that nature. But if you're with somebody and you can't have a deep conversation with them about your beliefs, things that you want out of life, it's kind of pointless.
It is. If you can't get to the core, the deepest core of your soul, and let it out, then that's a sign.
Yeah. Because just think about it. If you're in a relationship and you can't reveal your deepest, darkest secret to your mate,
that's not cool.
Because I'm gonna let y'all know, she knows all my dirt. She knows all my dirt.
And he knows mine, and he loves me for it. That's beautiful.
Yes, and that's unconditional love, which we've made videos about before. So so that's sign number 1, that you are in a toxic relationship. Now, sign number 2 is that simple disarguments turn into huge fights. Like somebody moved the salt across the table and y'all up there going at it, calling each other names and stuff just because somebody moved the salt.
You both seek employment at the petty committee.
Yes.
So
y'all both trying to get the CEO seat.
Y'all fighting for the CEO representative position. Yeah.
Now, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to relationships, having these arguments is not something that you can really avoid. It's going to happen in your relationship from time to time.
Right.
But now the thing that you want to really take a notice to is how you fight. If you're going through calling your partner names and hitting below the belt, that's
like
times,
really serving on the petty committee. Like that's a warning sign. If they're calling you out your name, like maybe they might call you an idiot, they might call you the B word, or you know, whatever name that triggers you to feel insecure about yourself. That's hitting below the belt, and that's something to look for. That's not healthy.
So if you're with a partner, or if you're doing it, that's a sign of a toxic relationship, and you want to go ahead and exit stage left.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and get
Just
on
go
out.
on and leave. If you can't resolve it, if you both can't sit down and say, hey, you know what, this relationship is becoming toxic, let's try to fix it. If you both are not on that same page and you're still doing the blame game, it might be time to take a break.
Yes. All right. And sign number 3. Sign number 3 is one, once again, you want to evaluate as much as you possibly can. And that is the sign that your spark has just went out.
Ooh, that. Whoosh, somebody went like this to the candle. Put it out.
Flame is out, and we're twin flames. We're supposed to have that flame going strong. You know what I'm saying?
You don't even see the smoke no more. It's just been out for so long. You know when you blow out a candle, you can still see the smoke. Mm-hmm. No smoke, no light. It's just gone.
Just gone.
Yeah.
So, and you know, having a spark in your life and in your relationship is very crucial, because being attracted to your mate is one of the reasons why y'all are together.
Exactly. So something was there in the beginning to make you attracted to them in the first place.
Yeah. And kind of backtrack to the last tip, which kind of ties into this one, because you know before we said that you were going to have some arguments, and when you're having arguments with your partner and y'all are able to talk it out, that means that you actually care, that you want this person in your life. But if you get to a point where y'all don't even fight anymore, y'all are just coexisting, that spark is gone.
Like kind of like not even roommates, because at least roommates have conversations with each other and share stuff with each other. So yeah, I can't even use that example.
Nope. Like
you don't know where they're going, or you might not see them for the entire day. They haven't called, and you just have 2 completely separate lives.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually the 4th sign that you're. That's actually the 4th sign that you're in a toxic relationship. If y'all are living 2 completely separate lives, and y'all are cool with it,
like super cool.
like oh, and here's the part. When you're living separate lives, but you don't know what the other person is doing
at all,
because like you just come in the house, like, okay, say you come home after a hard day's work and your spouse is not there and you don't care. Mm-hmm. I mean, they could be out with another woman, they could be out working, they could be out grocery shopping, but you don't care.
They might even be in the hospital, but they might have got ran over and you just don't care. That's not good.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind that it is healthy for a relationship for each partner to have their own thing that they do.
Absolutely. You need to keep your individuality.
Yeah. So, like, if Leisha wanted to go out to the club or something, hey, but I know where she is.
Right. And just in case something happens, you'll know, hey, that's where she is. Mm-hmm. It's just healthier.
Yeah. So, these are just some tips, some suggestions, some things to look out for, because we don't want you all getting into toxic relationships and you're taking time out of your life where you could be living your best life.
Exactly, because some people, and I might be jumping ahead.
Go ahead, man.
I'm always jumping ahead. But I think one of the main reasons why people stay in toxic relationship, I think it has to do with time. Like they figure, hey, I already invested 6 years of my life. How many ever years you want to say that you invested in this relationship, and you want to stay and you want to work at it, even though it's really no hope. But it's like holding on to the time that you put in. You're feeling like, oh, I would have wasted 6 years. I can't leave now because that's 6 years of my life I can't get back. But if you think about it further, think harder, think longer, you might put in another 6 years of misery. Yeah. And that would be 12 years that you can't get back.
And that's not good. And just you mentioning that, it made me think about the stock market. And let me explain. Y'all follow with me for a second here. Now, say for example, you want to invest in a particular stock. Now, you see that this stock has potential to grow, right? But when you invest your money and you see that this stock is not going the way that you anticipated, it's time for you to pull out before you start losing more money. But most people want to stick in there like, no, it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
The price gonna go back up. The demand's gonna go up.
Right, and they see the volume constantly dropping.
Yeah. So you got to think about it as a stock market. And when it comes to the stock market, like, you have to really pay attention to what's going on, and replace the stock market with your relationship. Because people enter the stock market for interest. Yes.
That's the big, and that's what the relationship and the stock market, because they have in common.
Yes. Yeah.
Interest. So interest.
Yes.
So if your interest is lost,
let it go.
Let it go.
Exit stage left.
Trade. Go on and trade.
Sale. But yeah, and so that's one of the signs that if you're noticing that you're not getting out of the relationship what you're looking for, please exit.
Right, because you always want to make sure you have ROI, return on investment.
Yes.
Sorry guys, we've been doing a lot of studying and stuff.
Okay, now the fifth tip that we would give for you all is that, or the warning signs of a toxic relationship, is pretty point blank that you're unhappy.
Oh, that's the key sign.
Yeah, and you see, that's the thing, and it goes back to what Alicia just said a moment ago. You're staying in a relationship thinking that you're going to get this return of happiness out of this and fulfillment from the relationship, when all the whole time you're just miserable.
Super miserable.
Life is too short to be sitting in a relationship and being unhappy.
Exactly.
We want you all to live your best life, to get all of the love that you deserve and that you want.
Exactly. And sometimes you'll find that after you leave that toxic relationship, it's like, you ever held your breath for like, when you leave, it's like this. And then you could breathe again. That's what it, when you leave a toxic relationship, you can finally breathe. Like, you don't want to be getting upset, going in the kitchen and yelling at everybody, who put the refrigerator in the kitchen? Like, the refrigerator belongs in the kitchen. Yeah. So when you're in a toxic relationship, little things get on your nerves.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's so true. And I can speak from personal experience on that, because when I ended my marriage, it was pretty much to the point where I knew that I was unhappy. I mean, for years I pretty much lied to myself, like, oh, it's gonna turn around and things gonna get better.
Right.
And 1 year, 2 years, 6 years, 10 years, it never happened.
Yeah, and you lost a lot of interest in the stock market.
I lost a lot of interest. And so I had to end up just cutting my losses and starting all over again and building back up. And I probably wouldn't have taken so long to build up if I had cut it when I should have, but that's a part of life.
Part of life. It's a learning lesson. In everything there is a lesson. You never lose. You either learn or you win.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you look at it.
Yes. Now, when it comes to these toxic relationships, sometimes it can be a little hard to exit left. And for the sixth tip, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important ones that you need to take heed to, is that you're scared while you're in this relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? And to make it more plainly, when it comes to toxic relationships, a lot of them involve in lying, cheating, severe money issues,
violence,
drug issues, things of that nature. And sometimes in situations like that, it can be pretty hard for you to get out of these situations or these relationships.
Yeah, and sometimes it could be like financial reasons why you can't leave. You literally cannot leave because the other person might be paying half of your mortgage or your rent, or they might be responsible for paying the electric bill. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? The situations can vary from person to person, couple to couple. But in situations like this, it's really important to reach out to family members, friends. Like I said before, we do offer counseling service. If you're ever going through any type of issue like that, we would like to help out as well. But if things are so extreme that you don't know which way to go, there actually is a national domestic violence hotline. that we would like to give the number to you all. So if you're ever in a situation like this, and from this number, it's pretty much in the U.S., and I know we got quite a few people that are all over the world watching our video.
But if you're all over the world and you're watching our video, you're not in the U.S., I mean, Google it. Go on Google and see what's available in your area. I'm pretty sure something will turn up.
Right. And I'm going to put the number down here at the bottom, and that number is 1-800-799-7233. And so if you're in a situation and you're in a toxic relationship and you don't know which way to go to get out, definitely give this number a call, and they'll be able to help you out in exiting that situation in the safest way possible.
Exactly, because in life, guys, if you have to pay with your happiness, it's too expensive.
Yes.
You can't afford it. Put it down. Put it back. You can't. I can't be like, listen, I can't pay with my happiness. It's too expensive. I have to put this item back.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes, it is. So those are our 6 signs as far as recognizing a toxic relationship, because we've seen a lot of people in toxic relationships and don't even know that they're in one.
Right. First, they're not recognizing that they're in one, and then if they do recognize that they're in one, they're not sure of how to get out. And then also, they have these expectations that society put on people. You have to have the husband and wife and the picket fence and the car and the job and stuff like that. But you're paying with your happiness to uphold the image for society when you've never met society.
No.
I've never met society.
You got it. I don't even know
have
how
you ever
many
met the guy society? I mean, that's holding this expectation over your head.
I mean, you got all these billions of people living on this planet, and you just can't live up to their expectations. You have to set your goals, not expectations, but set your goals to where you want to be and do whatever you need to do to get there.
Yes, and love yourself, because after a while, when you start loving yourself and appreciating yourself, you're going to draw a line as to what you accept and what you don't accept anymore, because it's crossing a border. You have to set boundaries. Something crosses your boundaries, then you have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, so true. So we hope that this information has been helpful for you. And with a video like this, if you know of anybody that's in a toxic relationship, go ahead and share it, slide in their DM. And
one thing, I don't think we mentioned this part with the argument we might have, but I just want to say one last thing. Arguing within a relationship, it's not always a bad thing. It's actually a healthy thing, and it's encouraged. But it's the way in which you argue. You can use it to strengthen your relationship.
Yes.
To find out what areas that you guys need to work on. Not to use the argument to throw those jabs and stuff. If the argument starts with somebody, throwing those jabs and making you feel lesser than how you are, making you feel insecure, then that's becoming toxic. Yes. But if it's an argument and it's ending in a resolution, like, hey, you know what, out of this argument, I do realize that I have to work on something, then that's different. You can use that as growth. So that's the big difference.
Yes, that's the big difference.
Yeah.
So pay attention, y'all. Look for the synchronicity signs that's telling you
333, 444, 1111.
Yeah, so definitely. And so that's our suggestions for you all, some signs to look out for. Definitely do so. We are Twin Flames Unite, and we love y'all so much.
I'm going to do my kiki. I'm not going to do it.
See y'all later.
Mwah, love you.